In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about artificial intelligence, AI specifically, in the context of image generation, as well as its significance. So what's actually happening when we use an AI image generator such as DALL-E is that we're creating images from scratch. And what's actually happening is we're utilizing trained artificial neural networks to create these images. These neural networks are just learning a sample of data, a statistical sample of data that we've used as our training set. And once we look at our statistical distribution for our training data, what's actually happening is that the neural network is going to create points, artificial points, I should say, within that training sample. So what these generators have the capacity of doing is creating original and realistic visuals based on textual input provided in some form of natural language. This is the essence of what generative AI is that we can actually take some text, in this case it's English or whatever language we'd like, and then ask it to generate some images. Now, here's a good example here of what a generated image could look like. So what I have here is just a picture of a house on a beach. I generated this with a simple text prompt that I gave to DALL-E, and in a matter of seconds, it was able to create this house on the beach, and that's what we're seeing here right now. Now, there's also some image generations that we have to look into, right? So an AI image generator has what's known as a machine learning principle behind it. Now, what we're using here are machine learning algorithms that can learn from these large data sets. In this case, it'll be images. And what we're going to do is then just allow to create these new images that are similar in style and content to the original data set. And the way the machine learning algorithm is working is that it's just looking at a numerical representation of these images so that it can actually generate the images for us. And what we're actually doing is we're providing an interface that's generated from some type of input. It's usually text. There can be times where we can use voice to generate some images, and so that'll help us with that. Certain large language models can now support voice to images. And what we're going to do with our AI image in our generating stage, we need to start with our training stage. So AI image generators, they're just trained on massive amounts of data. And this comprises about large data sets of images particularly, and they have all sorts of different resolutions and content inside of them. Now, what we're doing within the training process is we're going to learn the different aspects and characteristics of our data sets, and we're going to represent them numerically. So even though we see them as, a house on a beach, what's actually happening is that the algorithm is transforming that into a matrix of numbers, a sequence of numbers, so that it can understand it. And what's going to happen is they become capable of generating new images for us. And there are some popular AI image generation methods that we should look into. One of them is the neural style transfer, and there is the generative adversarial networks. These are the GANs that are used right now. And then there's also diffusion models. And what we're doing here, if we think about the generative adversarial network, is we're employing a duo of neural networks to train to produce realistic images that resemble the ones in the training set. So we'll have two pieces in a GAN, a generator and what's called a discriminator, and they have an adversarial relationship with each other. So they're trying to basically trick each other and then get better over time. And so that's the idea of what a generative adversarial network is. What you'll also notice is that there's a neural transfer technique, and what we're doing here is we're just enabling the imposition of one image's style onto another. And then there's the diffusion model. And what they're doing here is they're generating images through a process that simulates the diffusion of particles, progressively transforming the noise into what's known as structured images. And these are just some of the popular AI generation methods. In a few years, we'll probably have some more as we continue to do R&D on these methods. So what are some of the key activities for our AI image generators with these methods? Well, the first thing that we want to do is we obviously have content creation. We can enhance articles or social media content with these engaging images. But we also have creative projects where I can use AI generated images as some type of inspiration or starting points for any type of artistic endeavor that I may have. And then there's also educational purposes. I use this as well, where I can create visual aids or illustrations or some type of diagram that is going to help somebody understand a complicated topic. And finally, there's the design and marketing. We can generate graphics, logos, and visuals for things like promotional materials or branding. And that's just a little bit about what we can do with image generators and artificial intelligence.